Why hello all of you beautiful people out there, and my loyal minions. It's your Hypnogod Mastermind Fred Lee here with another Fred Talk. Now before we get started with this episode, I'd like to extend my thanks to all of my loyal minions out there who have subscribed to this channel and have that bell icon on. For liking these videos and sharing them with your friends, and even putting comments and replying to my questions and stuff on Instagram, social media, which you can all find in my description down below. Thank you all so much, and if you haven't done that already, make sure you do so, either at the start of the video or by the end of it, whichever works best. That being said, let's get right to how I ended up almost getting in trouble with the US Army. It all started off at Fort Jackson. This is at AIT, which stands for Advanced Individual Training. This is basically a series of classes depending on whichever job you take as a soldier. There's human resources, finances, any job you can really think of. All the soldiers that come fresh out of boot camp go to AIT to train and be able to do their job the moment they get sent out to their units. That's basically the setting, and let's get to where I'm at. So, a little more pre-facing context, whatever it is. You may have seen some videos where on my YouTube channel I've hypnotized soldiers, done some magic for them, but most notably I've hypnotized soldiers that have his hand stuck on the table, memory loss, all that stuff. And this of course led to many other opportunities, including the story that I'm about to tell you now. So this happened all at AIT. This is at the break room. So the way that every company at AIT, they do things very differently. This particular company is ridiculously strict, meaning that all soldiers have to adhere to certain rules and also certain curfews, while usually the AIT experience in the US Army tends to be a little bit more lax. You get to feel human for once, but you have to stick to a schedule and whatever training that they have set for you because, let's face it, the government is using the tax dollars paid by the people to make you into a full-fledged soldier that can perform the task that you are contractually obligated to do. Well, not contractually obligated, contractually mandated to do, because any misdemeanor or any of that sort can lead to dishonorable discharge, possibly being stuck in a military prison, you name it. The consequences are a lot worse for those in the military than if you're out and about in the civilian sector. So back to the break room. It all started off when I brought a Rubik's Cube just to kind of play around with, mess with. I did a couple magic tricks with the Rubik's Cube, and that's where the whole ball started to roll. So that led to one magic trick to another magic trick. And because it's in a break room, it is an authorized space to just chillax, hang out, have fun. And eventually it boiled down to me hypnotizing a couple of people. One of which volunteered herself, and she was like, "Can you do some hypnosis on me?" Now do keep in mind, at this particular time frame, in AIT, this company has a structure where the first few weeks is just classroom and training, and then the next few weeks is training with weapons. In this case, they choose to lug around the M16, which is a big old clunky rifle that was used in the Vietnam War, and is the very rifle that caused the US to... one of the many factors that caused the US to lose the Vietnam War, or to lose occupation of Vietnam and the prevention of communism and all that stuff. So enough the history lesson, but basically, this soldier was holding an M16. This is a live weapon, but technically it's not live if there's no live rounds, magazines, and also it's been quote unquote neutered. Basically, you just put a little cover stop on it, and the only bullets you can really fire through it are blanks. So it just makes loud noises and simulates the recoil. You get the idea. It's for training purposes, but it is technically a live weapon. Obviously, no one is authorized to have live rounds on them. So she was holding her M16, asking me to do this. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. Let's do this. So I made sure to adhere to the company standards, which is battle buddy system. What it is basically is you as a soldier need to have another soldier with you to be accountable for various different things. And to make sure that sexual harassment doesn't happen, 2 female per 1 male and vice versa. So that way, no funky stuff happens. And if you're interested in that stuff, there are many AR regulations out there on YouTube. You can probably do that via YouTube search if you want to rather listen to it than read it. Google search, all that fun stuff. So the battle buddy took care of her weapon, and I did my hypnosis stuff. Made her arm float, all that stuff, the amnesia. And then I thought, you know what, for shits and giggles, let's do this. So I hypnotized her into thinking that her M16 was the most adorable puppy you've ever seen. And oh boy, everybody had a blast. But, you know, hindsight 2020, she was technically flagging everybody in that room by the way she was holding her M16. And for those of you that aren't gun fanatics or not familiar with weapon safety, flagging someone is where you point the muzzle at somebody when you're not supposed to. You're supposed to treat even an empty weapon that has no magazine, no ammo, as a live weapon. You gotta treat it as if it's lethal and ready to kill. So as such, that now I realize that probably wasn't a good idea. But it was hilarious and crazy to see that this soldier holding her M16 and adoring it like the cutest puppy she ever saw. And then that's where the whole shitstorm happened. One of the drill sergeants, she's like this Polish Ukrainian type, you know, the husky and scary. It's basically one of those drill sergeants that you know, if she walks in, and she's not one of those drill sergeants that plays a character, because usually in a training environment, the instructors play a character to ensure that they maintain discipline, to ensure that the soldiers are on track, all that stuff. But this drill sergeant is just a bitch 24/7. She's not playing a character, she's just being straight up a bitch. And we all know this. So she comes in, she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh crap." So I just said we're just doing magic and stuff, and I'll undo that. And then of course she's like, "Okay, you come to senior drill sergeant, bring battle buddy." I'm like, "Oh my god." So something's up. So I got that soldier out of it, made her get back to her weapon and stuff so no one gets in trouble. And I brought someone with me just to go see the senior drill sergeant. And this is where it got scary. Now, senior drill sergeant in this particular company, he literally was the top dog. Like, if you can imagine a bulldog and how scary that they may seem to most people, he's essentially the pinnacle of the bulldog trope, you know, caricature, whatever it may be. So it's like, "The fuck you doing here?" I'm like, I explained it. I'm like, we were doing magic in the break room, and then she just brought me over, and I had to bring a battle buddy. He was like, "Alright, fucking do something." So I did. So I basically did a little mind reading demonstration, and I eventually figured out that he was thinking of his son. So I'm like, Junior, does Junior come to mind? And as I mentioned before, usually all the instructors, including the senior drill sergeant, puts up a front. And that's when I noticed I cracked that armor of his. He was like, "That's fucking good." So I was let go. So I was just, you know, basically go off and do my own thing. And then for the rest of the time that I was at Fort Jackson, every single time he goes, taps me on the shoulder, goes up. He's like, "Hey, do a fucking trick." No matter where I went, whether it be out, just basically wherever they decide to take me. So I'm like, usually it's on the base itself, but other times we go to certain training grounds, like literally out in the field, or there's simulated like mountains to hide behind and all that stuff, like the whole 9 yards. Just doing some magic out there, just because the senior drill sergeant liked it, and that basically sums up the whole almost getting in trouble at a military base with the work that I do. And if you guys like these stories, and if you want to like throw on suggestions, comments, anything else, you can always abuse the comment section. Make sure you put something down and share your support for these videos, because every interaction that you do for these videos, regardless of the platform it's on, you make sure you like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and ring that bell icon, and make sure to comment and stuff like that. That way we can keep this channel going. That way YouTube knows, hey, let's push this channel. And we got to override this whole shadow ban thing, because it's apparent to other YouTubers as well that favoritism goes on, and you the people can change that. You the people can stick it to the man, the woman, the person in charge of this thing, saying, hey, your system ain't working, we need you to fix it. Did the right thing. And of course, at the time of this episode, I do have a couple more shows in this year, being 2022. I got the November show coming up, and I'm really excited for that. And also the December show. Both those shows are going to be super hype. And those shows start at the very first Saturday of each of those respective months at 8 p.m. in San Jose, California. That's the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. Plan your trip out there. Grab yourself a ticket, because seating is limited, and it's going to be super duper awesome, because I'm going to end the year with a bang by leading up to it as such. Again, I can't express my thanks enough for all of you tuning in. Thank you all for coming to my Fred Talk. And I'll see you all next Sunday morning.